Do I look pretty enough?
Why are you screaming? Are they cold? You don't have to make love to me.
Well, I will. Dave's yelling. Look at these things. Just tap and hold it.
On the nip. Alright, ready?
Salute.
Ready? Ready?
Yep.
Welcome to Beer Boy Barbecue. And on today's episode, we're going to be making some brisket. So we're going to be doing two different types. We're going to be using my beef rub on one, and we're going to be using my sweet and spicy rub on another. Okay, so today, I am having my first guest. This is Brian. Say hello, Brian.
How you guys doing?
He is, I don't even want to say an amateur to barbecue, because he's pretty much never done it. So we're just going to, be teaching him along the way. We're going to have him do some things and see how everything works out. So these two briskets, I once again did my cheap runs at Walmart. We spent $70 and we have 26.5 pounds of brisket. Can't complain about that at all, considering normally a brisket's going to run me about $110 for a 15-pound brisket.
And what makes the difference between the 15-pound and is it the grade of meat, where they get it from, or how it's raised?
The price?
Yes.
So yes, the grade of meat is the same. So we are working with choice beef. Normally when I go to the butcher, it's going to be choice beef as well. The biggest difference you're going to notice is stuff like this. You see this amount of fat that we have on the side?
Yeah.
This whole chunk, just as big on this one underneath. It's always there, but there's a lot more fat on these briskets.
Okay.
Which is okay, because I mean, at the end of the day, on a 13-pound brisket, we're still going to end up with 11 and a half pounds of beef. I'm still not going to complain. I just have to do more butchering.
Right. Okay.
So we're going to start trimming up these and see how far we get.
Did you leave some of the fat on, or is that
That's
rotting
just
meat?
nasty meat, yeah.
Did you use the fat for other things?
Not this fat. This is really bad fat. This is what makes lard.
Oh.
It's like, you'll see. Here, you have gloves on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not your normal fat, Like, This is like, you can see it's slimy.
Yeah.
This is hard, thick disgust.
Right. And that's the difference between a butcher.
A good brisket and a not so good brisket.
You
but
spend
it's
a lot more time trimming.
Yeah.
The same meat.
It's not that it's not a good brisket, because I've done them before and they're fantastic.
Right.
It's just that it takes forever.
Because the butcher does all the trimming and everything for you, essentially.
No, it's different cows.
Okay.
It's like better cows, I guess. Because all this would still be here on a more expensive brisket, just not as much.
Right.
I'm going to explain to Brian a little bit what these different parts of a brisket are. Okay. Right now, I am trimming out this big, thick piece of fat. Now, what this piece is the part that separates the flat muscle and the point muscle. Okay. Because there are two different muscles on a brisket. So the biggest difference of the meats is we're going to be getting our sliced brisket from this part that you see here, okay? And this is our flat muscle, okay? And then the part over here where it's separating, okay, this is their point muscle. So when you have like chopped brisket or burn ends, that's where it's coming from. It's mainly coming from there. You can do those other things from the flat, but the flat is definitely the part that normally gets drier quicker, stuff like that, where the point is going to always be way more tender and way more moist.
Okay.
I don't get all that out. I do pretty much about what I did.
And does it leave more flavor in there once it starts cooking?
Believe it or not, the fat doesn't actually flavor the meat.
What does it do to the meat?
Moistens the
Okay.
meat. So it's going to help keep the meat moist. But this really hard stuff, this doesn't break down. Okay, even on the smoker, it won't break down, it won't render out. So that's going to stay like that, and it's going to be hard if you tried to eat it. So that's why we get rid of it.
Okay.
The good fat, a lot of this kind of fat and stuff like that, we're going to keep, because that's going to render, and that's when you bite into a nice piece of meat and you get that butteriness from it. That's what happens.
Okay.
Okay. Anytime we see fat that's soft like this, like I said, we will leave it. But if that happens, we're going to take that out.
You're just taking excess.
Yes, because that is what will cause some burning and stuff.
Okay.
That stuff just burns up and doesn't matter anyway. So I'm always going to be pinching and see if I can get anything up, and then I'm going to trim that off.
Now, when did you buy this?
Yesterday.
Okay. Do you let it? Is it frozen when you get it?
No, it is
Just
not
in
frozen. It is just in the cooler.
So what you're doing? You're just kind of like cutting it, like just trying to see what'll cut.
Yeah, pretty much, and just to
Instead
loosen
of-
it up, because especially on this part, this is what we call the fat cap.
Okay.
And this is like the one piece that we want to try to leave intact.
Okay.
Because that's going to make the slices and everything so moist.
And
Like-
so you pretty much just want to keep it like a thin layer.
Exactly.
Okay.
1/4 inch is the rule of thumb. but
Okay.
It's not easy to achieve always. And we just try to square things up to makes
Make it easier to cut.
later. Yeah. We are done with piece number 1. See, so they were roughly about the same size. And you can see what you end up with.
Yeah.
Pretty big difference. On to the next. This one we're going to get a lot. This is where we're going to do slices from because it's so much bigger. This is our point muscle.
Okay.
We
What's
don't
that?
need the fat on it.
What's the point move? What do you mean?
It's the name of the muscle.
Okay.
We just don't need fat on
Where'd
it.
you learn all this? Just by researching and doing it?
By doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Nice.
In all honesty.
Were you just feeling the consistency through it?
Yeah, like run my hand over it and I feel what's super hard
Yeah.
and I get rid of it.
It's a lot of meat, dude.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not. It is a lot more trimming than what I could be doing.
Right. But
But
instead
it's
of
still
spending,
not terrible because it's like buy one. It's less than buy one get one free compared to a butcher.
Right.
You know. All right, guys. So we are now done trimming, and these are the briskets that we're left with. Okay, they're looking great.
I'm gonna leave my gloves on because I really don't know what else to do.
They are looking great. We still have a lot of meat left. We did have to trim a lot of fat, but it's not that bad. So now we're going to go ahead and get these things rubbed, and then we'll check right back in when we're getting them on the grill. So Brian's going to be doing my beef rub on this brisket, and I'm going to be doing my sweet and spicy on this brisket.
Are we pouring or is it pouring or that one?
We're going to be pouring, but we're not doing it yet.
Okay.
So as you all know, I don't put salt in my dry rubs because I salt my meat separately. So we're going to throw some salt on there first, and then we're going to do the rub.
Now what does the salt do for the meat?
So what the salt is going to do is give it flavor.
Okay.
It's also going to help bring out some moisture right now
Okay.
when we get it on there, and it's going to help our dry rub stick. There you go. Now so you just want to do a nice sprinkle across the whole thing.
Not like that.
It's okay. And we're just gonna, because it's a lot, we don't rub meat, just so you know.
Yeah.
But because you put a little bit too much in some spots, we're just gonna rub to move it around. So it's okay. Now we flip.
Why don't you quote unquote rub it? And why do you pat it? Is it because rubbing, like, what's the
Rubbing's
difference?
just moving what you're putting on the meat to somewhere else.
Okay.
As opposed to leaving it where it is.
Okay.
But sometimes you want to move it.
You just like kind of
Yeah.
massage it in.
So dry rub, we're gonna go with the spout side, and
Same concept.
you're gonna go a little light on it, okay.
Okay.
On that one. But the same concept, yeah. You just want to get a nice dusting on there, and then pat, just push.
I got stickered.
Just like this. Okay. Definitely gonna want to get more across over here.
Okay.
It's okay. And don't be afraid to, when you have it, to do big fans.
Okay.
You know, to really get it.
I worry
get it
about
around.
over seasoning because that's one of my problems when I'm cooking at home is I tend to over season things and then
Okay, so I definitely understand that. My way to battle that is by making a good dry rub.
okay
That it can't really be over seasoned.
just adds more flavor.
Just adds more flavor. But
Okay.
that looks good. So now give yours a flip. Okay, and we're gonna get this other side going. Yeah, perfect. And now just pat that in. So do you see the big difference here? I let that sit. You see how dark red it got?
Yeah.
Because the moisture from the salt came through out of the meat,
Okay.
and now it really helps this stick.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna flip mine.
How spicy is it? Is it kick or
It's
more of a?
it's more of a feeling
Right.
than a kick.
Okay.
I call it sweet and spicy because both flavors are there, but it's definitely more sweet than it is spicy.
Okay.
So this is the upside.
Okay.
So
you cook it with the fat down?
So there's a controversy.
Okay.
Right? Some people cook it fat cap up, some people cook it fat cap down. The science behind it is that fat cap up is going to help the fat break down and come through the meat.
Okay.
I've seen countless videos of people doing both side by side, one up and one down throughout the whole cook. Blind taste test, A/B kind of thing, and it's always inconclusive.
Right.
You can't tell the difference. I always cook fat down.
Just preference
for protection. Okay.
From charring.
Exactly, because if that fat burns a little bit, it's just going to fall off.
Right.
You know, whatever. It's not going to be that big of a deal. We're protecting the meat.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, guys, right now we're going to move over to the grill and we're going to get these on there to start cooking. All right, guys. So we're going to be cooking these briskets at 300 degrees, and we're going to be cooking them for 3 hours before we take them off and wrap them. So let's have a little look before we continue our process. So our brisket on the left is the one that Brian seasoned with the beef rub, and the brisket on the right is the one that I seasoned with the sweet and spicy rub. All right, today I am cooking on my offset smoker. It's my cheap little char griller. Hard to keep temps right, but hey man, that's what happens when you buy a cheap smoker. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford a good one. That's it for now, and we'll check back in with you in a little bit. All right, everybody, so welcome back. And you know, this was never meant to be an exact tutorial, so that's why I haven't really gone over the whole middle process. You know, I'm just here hanging out with one of my friends, and we're having a good time, drinking some beers, making some barbecue. So this is the one that Brian rubbed with the beef rub. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to separate the muscles, and then we're going to take a couple slices just to taste it out. From this one, we're going to be getting some chopped and some burn ends, and from the other one that we have cooked, we're going to be getting some more burn ends and slices. So we do have a really small point muscle. I mean, it's not a very large brisket, so the point muscle is pretty small. That's no big deal at all. And here's our flat, looking good. Just get some of this extra fat out of here. All right, so now we're just gonna get a cross section, get a slice or two, just so we can give it a taste. As you can see, we have a perfect smoke ring, perfect amount of fat on the top of that, nice elasticity to it. It's not falling apart, which is exactly how we want it, but then it's just gonna rip. Beautiful. So let's give Brian a slice. It's very hot. And cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Oh yeah.
It's got a little kick to it, but it just sits there. Doesn't get any hotter.
It's mainly from the black pepper that's in there.
It's so moist.
Oh yeah. Delicious.
It is really good. That is really good. Can I just have 2 pieces of bread?
Good amount of moisture in there.
Well, that's good.
All right. So we're just gonna put this off to the side for now.
Is that gonna be the burnt end?
This whole pieces.
Okay.
Let's get a couple pieces of this. You can try the difference between the point and the flat.
Oh, just like melts in your mouth and falls apart.
And that's why this is best to use for burn ends. So the whole point of a burn end is to be exactly that.
That one's yours.
So Brian, I know you're wondering probably why it's in a cooler, because it helps tenderize the meat more or less. So after it gets up to temperature on the grill, I usually like to pull off the brisket around 200 degrees. And once it gets to that point, I'm gonna go in with a probe. I'm just gonna feel it for tenderness to make sure the probe's going in and out nicely. As long as it's tender, I pull it out, throw them right in a cooler, and it just helps tenderize, brings up the temperature more obviously in the process, but becoming tender is the biggest reason.
No ice.
no ice.
Cooler, no ice.
Cooler, no ice.
Like water on the rocks.
You can also just actually wrap it in a towel and leave it in a towel. All right, and here's the other one. All right, this is the one that I did the rub on. This is with the sweeter rub. So again, we're gonna do the same thing. Gonna get these mussels separated, take a couple slices, and give it a taste. That's a much bigger point mussel.
Woo.
Oh yeah. I might actually just get the chopped out of that. That's a lot. Most people leave that on. I would leave it on too, for usually, but when I'm serving a lot of people for a party,
right,
people don't like that kind of fat.
It's a more of an acquired thing.
Exactly. I mean,
look at a lot of people. They see the fat and they're like,
How are you about just tasting fat?
I'll try anything once, at least, well, twice.
It's kind of buttery.
Yeah.
You know, just dissolves.
Yeah. Like there's not even a lot of chewing. It just falls apart.
Great.
So what do you expect this to taste like? More of sweet, because earlier you said sweet and spicy, right?
Yeah, I mean, see, all right. So you notice the spice that we have on that one?
Yeah.
It's not going to be that spicy.
Okay.
It's less spicy than that, but with the sweet and the spicy, it just adds a different dynamic. So again, beautiful smoke ring. Oh yeah, nice and tender. Couple slices. Actually, this is big. I'm just gonna do one slice.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna pass that test. I don't make bad brisket around here. We all know that. Oh, there you go. This one I can already tell is definitely a little tougher. Tell right off the bat. This was a big ass brisket. Not tough enough.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. Oh, you see. A little bit of spice.
Yeah, but it's not like a spice the way you think of a spice. It's more of just like a taste.
Exactly.
That just stays there.
Something that just
Not
hangs,
hot. It's not
hangs
a hot
out.
spice.
So let's slice this up. Oh, I'm definitely using that.
Let me eat this up.
Oh.
No, will that absorb all that? Or will it be like? Is that just juice, or is that like fat juice?
That is, yes, that's fat.
Okay.
100%.
So if you leave it in there and let it chill, it'll actually become.
It'll become solid.
That's gross.
But then I heat it back up.
Oh, fair.
And then it goes to that again.
Okay.
Have you ever had a burn end?
No.
So, all right. So, the burn end, dude, it turns these into candy. So pretty much what I'm gonna do on Sunday, I'm gonna take all these chunks. I'm gonna throw them in a pan, and I'm gonna put in brown sugar, butter, and honey, and I'm gonna cook it for like an hour.
Where, in the oven?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let it cook for like an hour in the oven at like 300 degrees. Then I'm gonna take them out of the pan, and I'm gonna toss them in barbecue sauce, and then put them on the grill to let them get caramel. And it's not just gonna be barbecue sauce. I make glazes that make it nice and sticky and hard, so it gives a nice caramelization to it, and then you eat it. Yes. Now I just have to decide to do what with what here. This will make such good chopped brisket. I don't even have to chop it. It's just
pull it apart.
It crumbles. So we're pretty much just gonna pull these apart instead of turning these into burn ends, because it is just so amazing. Like, look at that. You know? Oh my god. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna take the one flat and I'm gonna make burn ends out of that. That's still very tender. It's gonna make perfect burn ends. Doesn't really matter. And we also have the point from the other brisket that we're gonna do burn ends with. So we'll have plenty. But this is gonna make some delicious chops right here. As you can see, we're just pulling this right apart. So I can't even call this chopped, but obviously that's what it's called in the world of barbecue. But so anyway, we're just gonna leave us to this for the night. It's already midnight, so we just want to get this done. Thank you very much, Brian, for joining me on this one.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, and we're gonna be doing even more this weekend. So this is just step one to our big cookout that we're having this weekend. We're also gonna be doing some ribs later this weekend, pork belly burn ends, jalapeno poppers.
We're doing smoked wings too, right?
we are going to be putting wings on the grill. Yes. But that's
judging me.
But that's because that's baby stuff.
Well, I mean, I want them.
Well, anyway, guys, I want to finish doing this so I can get to bed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.